Hi, and my name is Kalle Riihinen, and I must thank you for the opportunity to come and talk to here. And as a disclaimer, there's a lot of academic prestige here today under this roof. I'm not an academic, so all the information that I'm going to provide, they are solely my own opinions and my observations. So nothing can be taken as the truth today. But I'm using you as a sounding board and a reflection, because these are my observations from my career and my past, coming from working in the forest industry, going to venture capital rounds, and now working in a startup. And now kind of the most important thing for me is to get the larger opinion and reflection on what should we do next. How are we going to make the impact, and how are we going to make the opportunity for the next generations to thrive on this planet. And this is kind of the journey where I'm at. And not to be too long and boring, but I'm going to start from 1869, from this old geezer called Mr. Serlachius. And for me, this is really important, kind of iconic figure. I was born near Manta, and I was raised in Manta, so I know the scent of the Manta operations from the 80s to 90s, and kind of the growth and the death of that operation in that sense. But it started from 1869, and there's a really interesting, this book, unfortunately it's, to my recognition, it's only been translated to Swedish, but ChatGPT is really equipped with the translation properties, but it's The Curse of the Green Gold. And my name is Kalle Riihinen, and I'm here, hopefully here, this year, 2024, talking to you. But Mr. Serlachius established the first, it was a groundwood mill in Manta. And he had to take a boat to go to Manta. It's in the middle of the forest. And basically, at that time, there was nothing but lakes and forest. And I will come back to this, because now I have observed the kind of the industrial change in a sense of this bigger corporate of forest industry, and seeing the strategical processes that these companies have gone through. And what I have observed is two key points, is that you have two options, that you have to increase your current production capacity to be able to compete with the global market of, for example, pulp production. Or then you have another choice, increase the value of your current product portfolio. I do think these two can coexist at the same time, but when you're building up a strategy process, you need to make prioritizations. And when you make a prioritization, it's either one of these that you do. And I will go through quickly of the current increases of the production capacity, and then the hurdles of innovation, that what happens in the domain of corporates. So this is kind of and like I said, my sources are not, you need to do a fact checking on this, but the plans and the builds up of pulp mills. So in Beco-Araco, 1.5 million tons targeting, and then operations in UP and Paso del Toro is 2.1 million tons. And then we have the CMPC's Guaiba mill in Brazil, 350 kilotons, and then the Suzano's amazing whopping 2.5 million tons of pulp production. So if these are going to be realized in the global market, that's going to mean something for the prices of the pulp. And what I've observed from the forest industry, that there is an issue with the fluctuation prices of pulp and kind of predicting where we are going and what are the scenarios of the future. But then there's another option, that increasing the capacity, but rather how about if we increase the value of the products that we are producing from the prestige raw material from the forests. And the innovation drivers, that what drives innovation today, and it's like 4 key bullet points from my observation point of view, is the Drivers in the forest segment is the environmental regulation. For example, the single-use plastic regulation kind of happened really fastly, and the market and the innovation society reacted really fast, and we actually got a really, really fantastic products out of it. So no more plastics, but replacing plastics with the forest resources. Then, of course, this is a bit of old school resource efficiency. We have been talking a lot since past 20 years. But then, looking at two last bullets is the consumer demand. That do we understand what the consumer want and need? And then how are we going to produce and fulfill the need of the consumer by economical, sustainable innovations? And I love to look the world and the innovation from the disruptive point of view of the innovation. There are different levels of innovation, but when we look at the disruptive innovation definitions, so first of all, we need to have the accessibility and the affordability. There was an excellent slide regarding the innovations in the medical segment. So the price of those products are really, really high, really lucrative, and really like I want to go there. But then, do we afford it? And can we have accessibility for that? For example, nanocellulose technology development in the segment of medicine. And I think that there's a kind of a key thing that how are we going to make these innovations affordable for the larger market? And then when you are applying disruptive innovation, then there needs to be a market transformation adjacent to that. And Tesla is a good example of that. And a lot of disruptive innovations, unicorns that we observed. And for this, in the forest industry, really excellent thing that we need to cross-pollinate, for example, textile industry. So that how are we combining these two traditional, really old school 1896 technologies and the textile industry even older, how are we going to mix and match those two and understanding the kind of the macroeconomics of these joining together. So that's the market transformation. And then technological and business modernization. So the technological disruptive technologies and ideas and innovations already exist in this domain here. So there's a lot of brain power here to solve this technological. But we need to understand also the market and the market transformation and the accessibility. And I have a couple of examples of this later on. I love this curve. I've learned this. So my source for this graph is I first heard it from Ture Parvinen, who is the CEO of Volare Solutions, so in the food segment. But how I understand this graph, sorry about thank you for the timing. So, the available money for innovations from the venture capital point of view or funding itself, and then the maturity. So now that you have your innovations, your ideas, you can actually plot your idea in here. And this is, again, not validated information, but this is my observation, that where are we now, kind of like my key interest points are here, like first generation composite from the forest industry. They are already in the market, and you can build your sun deck from first generation composite materials. Thermoforming fiber applications, they already exist. There is a normalized market. And then we are talking about micromaterials, which is, for example, Nordic Bioproducts Group is microcrystalline cellulose to be applied in a bigger volumes with a better technology. So we kind of step over already the death valley. But then man-made cellulosic fibers is a really interesting topic. How are we going to change the next sustainable kind of opportunity that we need to change something, which is the textile industry. And now there's the death valley there. And then there's new materials coming, synthetic biology, nanomaterials, second generation composites. And there's a lot of hype, a lot of money available from the venture capital point of view. And the one thing from the funding side is like, we do have this normalized market, which is the bigger corporations. And like, how are we going to utilize that profit generated from there to help these new innovations to jump over that death valley? And now I have, this is an unfortunate situation with the man-made cellulosic fibers today, and I have two examples, two companies, and these are quite current companies. And I feel the pain for them because we do have a textile applications in our company too. And now I'm just trying to understand that what's happening in the market. Like really Spinnova, for example, new sustainable textile fiber made without harmful chemicals, pollution or waste. And what is the market situation today? So if you remember the last graph and you compare it to here, then I have the, Renewcell bankruptcy happening right now, so kind of the value is going. So they are in the death valley of the innovation. And why does this happen? So I did a bit of Googling, and again, source criticism here. Fashion industry is hyped by traditional processes which have been based on the virgin cotton and hundreds of years. Renewcell was unable to pursue global supply chain to retool in favor of its products. Why aren't you in the textile supply chain in Asia? Why did you build the factory in Sweden? Do we understand the macroeconomics of textile supply chain as a whole? Government should be offering more incentives to help companies scale up, not just run early stage pilots. Nicole Rykot claims, and the companies need to lean in to embrace the solution that exists, a call to action for business leaders to align their actions with their commitment. So these are kind of the two fundamental incentives that what we need to make the jump over the death valley. So a lot of innovations, a lot of ideas, a lot of pre-seed funding for innovations, and a lot of pre-piloting, piloting, lab scale stuff. But then the hard stuff comes. Now you need to upscale your production to meet the scale of economics. And how do we do that? So I kind of call the responsibility for these big corporations also that, you are making the money, and where are you investing that money? Are you paying your dividends back to your shareholder owners, or are you investing really into the innovation and the jump from over the death valley? And also the governmental support is really crucial on this. And all the, VTT Finseres and Innovation Business Finland and European Union's Innovation Accelerator programs. So this is where we need kind of the emphasis to be. I'm going back to the Serlachius, because this is, I think, really inspiring story regarding that Mr. Serlachius was not a pulp engineer. He was not from the prestige schools of forest industry, but he was a pharmacist. And he had a really interesting life. Like he failed in many different businesses. He tried berry brewing, he tried, alcohol beverages, he tried pharmacology, he tried all sorts of things. It's like, oh gosh, what's happening now? But then he realized that, okay, there's a growing demand on paper products in the Europe. And it's like, okay, I know my pharmacist, I know my extraction methods, I know all this and that. And he decided to build a factory in Mäntä. But the product was not in his first domain of thinking. He was thinking of a bigger transformation of the Finnish society. How are we going to link Finland to global market? And his political agenda was to build railway roads from the middle of Finland, from the middle of the forest to Hanko Harbor, and then owned shipping company to take these products to Denmark so that they have a global reach. So the mean or the tool of doing that was the forest products. But the big picture and the whole vision was that how are we combining Finland to global market? And that was the thing that he was considering at that point, that time. He also bankrupted like 3 times with the forest, with the factory. So it happens. We do fail in a sense until we have the infrastructure and other required capabilities to actually bring these products to market. And that's why I'm using you as a sounding board today, because I'm facing this same problem in my life and driving my business forward. That how are we going to ease the pain? Because I'm suffering every day that how am I going to bring these products to market? What structural changes is needed from the societal point of view that we can actually enable these innovations and the transformation and the impact to happen? And then how are we going to support each other? Because we are a small nation that, for me, going to Indian Asian markets alone, it's really scary thing to do. And I'm afraid, and not being so afraid, I would call an action from you guys to support me, and I will support you to conquer the global market. So we are too small of a nation, too few consumers in our country. We need to take this gold from our forests, increase the value of the products with these innovations, and find out the financial means to get this impact to the global markets. And thank you for listening.
Thanks, Kalle. And I hope that the 3 questions there actually sparked a lot of thoughts in the audience, and we are seeing a lot of questions in the Q&A session that starts about 15 minutes. But if you had a magic wand and you could do one thing with it, one wish, what would it be? what would you change or do?
I would tear down the silos between, for example, forest industry and textile industry. And I would make people work more together and find these solutions together.
Okay, that sounds like a reasonable wish. I don't think we even need a magic one for that.
Yes,
Okay.
I think we can do it.
All right, thank you,
Thank you
Kalle.
very much.